Hey, good afternoon, boys and girls. Ken Smith, KenSmithFishing.com. This is going to be a Rayburn update for you. I got a couple of more videos coming on Albert and Glenn structure fishing, and I'm going to start working on the map tips again here pretty quick. But we got to spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a little bit of Sunday, but we got to spend some time on Rayburn this weekend. We fished the benefit tournament Outlaw Outdoors put on. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take you through practice. I got to practice a little bit Friday morning. And then tournament day Saturday, pretty uneventful. But then we got some good updates on the tournament. A lot of money got raised. The community really came together. So that's going to be mixed in here. And then Sunday we had a little bit of fun frog fishing. So the practice started Friday morning. I felt like I knew I could catch a bunch of fish out deep, but I couldn't catch any good sized fish. So I really wanted to try to catch a couple of big fish early. It's a 3-fish tournament, a 3-fish limit tournament. So I got out the frogs and the whopper ploppers and a couple of other top water baits, and just went out and tried to catch some big fish Friday morning early. So I started in an area, you'll see, and I hadn't been out really looking shallow at all. So the first thing you got to find is grass, and more than a foot or two deep, where you're not throwing a long ways to reach that foot or two deep grass. So I rolled up in an area to start the morning, and for about the first 30 minutes I really couldn't even find grass that I felt like was worth fishing. So I kind of got around in another little area and had a really solid fish on a booyah that I don't know what it's called, but it's the frog that's got the flapping tail. It's basically got a kicker tail on it, real similar to, well, I don't know, but a booted tail I would call it. And I had this bite.
There's a few birds working this stuff as I pulled up, which is kind of what I was looking for. That indicates to me that there's probably some bait in here. Where there's bait, there ought to be bass. Fish. Better than I thought he was. Oop, he come off.
And that was a solid 3 pound, 2 3/4, 3 pound fish. You could see I really didn't try to stick that fish. He just kind of pulled on it, and I pulled back, and then there was another fish in that same area with him. And actually the next morning, you'll see later, I don't think I got footage about it, but I really felt like I had 2 groups of shallow fish, but another guy stayed on that stretch of bank and just went back and forth and back and forth. So I didn't want to go over there and get in his way, and he was there first, so I stayed off that. But then I sort of fished around, and basically what I did is I put my trolling motor on about 70%, which is really flying with a Ultrex, and just covered bank. And as much as anything, I'm looking to spook fish too. I just want to see what's up shallow moving around. And when I finally got in an area where I started spooking some fish, now I was seeing some bait kind of everywhere. I had this one just smoke a whopper plopper, and you'll see here this one's a good one.
They just go stupid. Oh, that's so much fun. What are you? I can't even see you. Oh, that's a nice one. Oh, come here. 3 of those tomorrow might likely get us paid. That's a dandy. And he said, yum, yum. Oh, that's so much fun. So by the way, I'm throwing that's a Super Duty 3. That's a big, giant, it's a 7-11 luge rod. and then I'm turning it on a extra wide spool Lose. I think that's a BB something or another. What is that? SDW S2H. So it's that Super Duty wide spool. I do that because I'm throwing it on 60-pound braid, and I want to be able to make a long cast and have plenty of line on there. So that's a great rod and reel setup. It's the same setup I'm using on most of my A-rig fishing too, because I can throw 20-pound fluorocarbon and hold a whole bunch of line on there. So. And you can throw, I mean, this is a big old heavy bait. You can throw it a long, long way.
So I boated that fish and made the next cast or maybe 2 more casts, and I had another big one just boom, just blow up on it, and I actually got the bait away from her. I kind of saw her waking at it and took it away from her, and once I saw those 2 bites, these 2 bites were within 30 yards of each other, I kicked it on high 36 and I was gone. I didn't fish again, but as I left I saw a lot of fish spook. So I really felt like if Sarah and I could get in there early the next morning, even with the Labrador Retriever and Bodie banging around in the boat, we could probably catch a couple of big fish. And it just didn't happen. This is basically what happened to us on Saturday morning right here. So I should also mention, I did go out deep in practice and had a lot of this going on, a lot of small fish, 1.5 pound, 2-pound fish. Interestingly, I did find a new spot, and it's 150 yards from another spot, but I made a cast in practice. I had a fish bite, I missed a fish, stepped on spot lock, threw right back in there, caught a fish, and then you'll see here like 2 casts later, even though the video jumps here, I caught another little fish in there, and that's one of the spots you're gonna see Sarah and I are on the next day. And one of our 2.5 pound fish that we actually put in the live well was off that spot. So we had that going for us. And then even late in the day, I went up and I caught another really solid 2 pound, 2.5 pound, long skinny whopper plopper fish. So I had a number of bites in practice. And I knew we were going to catch fish. But 3 fish, any tournament on Rayburn these days, you got to catch big ones. So. These are a couple of the fish we caught in practice as well.
Giant. Far from it. Kentucky rain. Still fun to catch. So all of a sudden, I'm long lining that 10XD trying to get it down there about 35 feet. And I felt one whack it. I couldn't feel the fish. That's why. You are one bad little dude. I'm here to tell you. Unbelievable. Let's go the other way. on the tip of it is a little wad of hydrilla. It's just perfectly ideal. And I was just sort of walking that Carolina rig just on the edge of that with the trolling motor, just working in and out, and had one thump it and missed it, and that was the next cast back in there. Really would have thought that would have been a largemouth though, not a Kentucky. I'm in 19 feet of water. I'm probably throwing up in 12 feet of water. That old Ultrex is so handy. I missed that first bite and immediately just hit spot lock. Turned around and had a bush on the bank where I knew I'd missed that fish and threw right back exactly on the same spot. That's so hard to do with a regular trolling motor. Make that identical cast right behind that first one. You're not fishing with an Ultrex, you're giving other guys an advantage. There's no other way about it. And I did for too long. Over a year these things came out before I got one. Coming to me. He saw me catch that first one. Here he comes. Not heads though. The other one's twin. Oh, that's a fat little fish. Fat little fish that ate the crud out of my bait. Coming to me. He saw me catch that first one. Here he comes. Not heads though. The other one's twin. Another pretty good one. Had the camera turned off, but I wish I hadn't, because he jumped clean out of the water 3 times. One of those pretty practice fish that you're having a cow for in a tournament day. He got a buddy with him too. Get him? His eyes? He just slurped it under. Keep pulling on him. We're going to lose a Bodie. Excuse me. Don't think he's a keeper, but we're going to check. Oh, sister's giving him kisses. Oh, brother's giving him kisses. I didn't bring him in here just for you two. I promise you, I really didn't.
Stelly, get back.
Oh, dang it. Not quite. Sarah put another one in the boat. 2-0. We got 0 in the box. Hey.
Stella.
No. No. Daddy. Kisses. You give him kisses. No, you can't bite him. Golly, knucklehead.
So that was the start of our day. Just really nothing going on. I knew we needed to catch a few fish. Now 3 fish, I really thought a 3-fish tournament it would take 12 or 13 pounds, maybe even more than that to get paid. It wound up not taking that much because Clint paid a lot. Clint and Stacy paid a lot of places. And the fishing was kind of tough overall. But we put 2 small, keeper, 2.5 pound fish in the box. And, I mean, we could have put a 3rd one in there and culled up off of that, but throughout the day we were just catching little keeper fish, and I knew it really felt like we needed to start catching 4 and 5 pound fish. And with as hot as it was, and there wasn't a lot of money on the line, and truthfully we had kind of talked, Sarah and I, between ourselves, that if we won money we probably weren't going to take that money, and you'll hear more about that later. So I really, at that point, I wasn't going to stress another fish by putting them in the live well. We had 2 in there that probably weighed 5 pounds together, maybe 5.5. And we just sort of ran some deep stuff, caught a good number of fish. You can get bit out deep. I would say from 12 to 30 feet. You can catch fish. It's not hard to do, but not any good fish. So with a noon weigh-in, and we had already told Clint we would come south and help them with some of the weigh-in stuff. So we really felt like we were going to knock off about 11. About 9:30 or 10, we went back shallow and just ran some shallow stuff and didn't really catch anything else. We had a great time. We got to play with the big silly lab and Bodie, and everybody got to swim. And we had a good time, and got to meet a bunch of folks at the weigh-in that have been watching the videos. And thanks for those guys for coming up and saying hello. You know my face, but I don't know your face. So I really enjoy meeting you guys. And we had a great time. Super tournament, super folks. Clint and Stacy did a great job, and I'm going to talk about that later in this video. But they did this out of the goodness of their hearts. They didn't take any expense money out of this. They promoted this. They drug their trailer down to Humphreys. They were there Friday night collecting entry fees. They were there very early Saturday morning collecting entry fees and getting guys and girls off. And then did a great job in the weigh-in, as they always do. And they called on their sponsors to help, and that's just a great deal. So we'll talk more about that. Then so Saturday, that was Friday practice, Saturday tournament. Sunday then, that was Stella bumping into the tripod. Sunday then we went back out, and we sort of just started diving around. We went north up the lake some, just to look at something different. And we had a pretty good time. So we got a couple of fish on film. We got some goofy stuff on film. And let's go to some film here, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about.
So she's jumped in. She's swimming around grabbing lily pads. That's what's making her crazy.
No.
Uh-oh, no. Let's practice being sweet to him. Let's practice being good. Okay, that's way better. That's way better. Hey. Got a little hunchback on him. Okay, just kisses. All right, here we go. Oh, there we go. That's on a Cinco. I don't know what color Cinco. A lot of lab fish out there. No.
Stella, come here.
Oh, you hit that frog. There's that in the water.
Come here.
Bite, you big old silly thing. I was like, I'll kiss it.
Bodie, don't nibble. 'em.
can. That was awesome. Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Can you turn the camera to that? That's too funny.
Bodie,
I don't
no.
need y'all's help.
Bodie, no.
No.
Stella, no. Stella, come. Nope. Boatster. Let Daddy get it. Jeez. Stella, kisses.
So I had turned and was fishing this a little bit. So this is just millful and pads mixed. And I heard that fish slurp and turned around and threw over there and just pulled it to where he was and then just froze the bait. And he come up and smoked it. I mean, right through the millful. That's fun. Makes for a dirty boat, but that's fun.
Okay, so a couple of other things here. First off, I don't know if you ever had a big sister, but Bodie, you know, is 5 or 6 years old. He's a rescue baby. He rescued us, and so that makes him 35, 40 years old, and he's 29 pounds. But he has a 15-month-old, 70-pound sister who has no body awareness, and you'll see here on one of these frogfish, she just stomps on him, just trying to get to the fish. So in the boat, she's running over him all the time. So I picked him up and I thought, I'm going to put him on the butt seat and see how he acts. And the boatster likes the butt seat. This is really funny, so watch this.
This is cool. I'm kind of like a bumper. Like I'm taller than her.
He's like, I think I like it. Almost so terrified to move.
Where's that white bird?
Way out on the shore.
So left of me right there. Yeah, this will tilt too, so we can turn you around and get them that way. You like that? Uh-oh, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Hey, it turned. Here's, I'll lead up again. Super annoyed. That's sort of
So last bit of footage. We caught up with Clint and Stacy, the owners of Outlaw Outdoors, Sunday on the water, and I asked them for an update on the tournament and the benefit tournament that was Saturday for the young men out of Kirbyville. And this is good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy this and say thank you to the sponsors, even if you didn't get to fish. If you're in one of their stores or know one of them personally, I think it goes a long ways for us to say how much as a community we appreciate them doing this. And same for Clint and Stacy. So hope you enjoy this bit of footage too.
All right, I've got a hunting dog out here, and she hunted up Clint and Stacy, Outlaw Outdoors. So we talked about it on our video Thursday, I guess, that you were putting on a benefit. And by the way, I want to just go on record right now, guys. You guys did this. You didn't take any money out of this pot. You did it out of your own pocket. I know you were down there Friday night setting up over there. What time were you all there Saturday morning?
I think we got up, Stacy got up at 3 o'clock. We rolled out about 3:45, got down there about 4:15, 4:30. So it was a long day for us, but you know, these benefit tournaments, we don't do a whole lot of them for the simple sake that there's a lot of guys that ask us to do them. But this one was pretty close to my heart. The kid's mother I went to school with her for 12 years. Our families are friends. It's Kirby. We're all from Kirbyville, so it's a small town atmosphere, and I knew it would be successful. Not this successful.
So talk about that. What were your expectations?
Clint Fountain is really the one that spearheaded the whole tournament idea and came to me and asked if I would help. And we expected, he shot the number 100 boats. I'd love to get 100 boats. And we both laughed and said, man, we all would, And 40 to 50 was our expectations. And we ended up getting 105 teams yesterday. And it just exceeded way more than we ever thought that we could get, especially in the middle of August.
Hot.
And Rayburn fishing a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it just proved that it wasn't about fishing.
The community rallied around this.
Absolutely. Not only the community of Kirbyville, but it was widespread. The whole Sam Rayburn area really got behind them. And just to give you an idea of how they supported it, it was $120 entry fees, 105 teams. 60 went to the jackpot.
So more than double what you thought you'd get.
Oh, absolutely, more
Okay.
than double. $60 of the 120 went to the family of each entry fee. $60 went to the jackpot. That meant $6,300 was paid out. $6,300 was given to the family fund. Here's the real. I'm proud to tell this part here about the fishermen. Of the $6,300 that was paid out to the fishermen yesterday, $2,915 was given back
That number's
to the
not
family.
right. There's 300 and something more added to it.
Uh-oh.
Is it-
Math correction.
Yeah, remember they paid us money last night, so yeah.
So 32?
So yeah, I guess above and beyond 32. was
More than
actually
half the money came back.
Yes, amazing that that much is given back. So it just shows. The fishermen in general are just very giving people when they see, especially a 16-year-old child
Yep.
in need like this. And then the silent auction. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, ended up raising about 9,000. I believe.
Golly.
And
Every item basically went for retail or better.
it did.
Except maybe one.
No, you're referring to my certificate. Outdoors gave an entry into any tournament, and right at the end of the auction, we looked up, and it was like at $100, and my little feelings were hurt, so I had to kind of rib a few people, and it ended up bringing $160.
There you go.
Thank goodness somebody
Yep.
bailed me out. But yeah, every item went for at least retail. Some of them went for trip. There was a set of Kinder Scott earrings that were like $70 give or take. They went for $190 or $200.
Wow.
I didn't know there was Kendra Scott earrings there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I dodged a bullet.
Yes, saved you a couple $100. But all together with the silent auction, the families, one of the daughters there put together a bake sale. They sold t-shirts, they had raffles, everything together raised between $22,000 and $23,000 yesterday.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. And and we've talked about Outlaw Outdoors and what we did. We were just a small part of it. The big thing, sponsors helped. Rambo Outdoors donated rod and reel, Tackle Addict, I believe a gill, $1 gill.
Yeah, like a $600 or $700 rain suit.
Exactly. And a 1,000-yard spool of Seaguar line.
Couple $100.
Paracostas. There was a couple other Daiwa. Justin Gillette with Daiwa come with a Daiwa combo. And,
Nice combo.
Very nice. And I was real happy to see a lot of individuals just called up and say, hey, I want to buy a rod and donate it myself, just in my personal name.
Well, and we had a nice turnout of folks just showing up for the weigh-in.
They did. Buying, links and just participating in helping a family. And that was really the awesome part. We had two MC Outdoors give a half-a-day crappie trip, Tri Lakes Guide Service give a half-a-day crappie trip, Weaver Motors donated, Kirbyville Vet Clinic. I can go on and on.
Yep.
But I think we had 31 items in the silent auction, and they weren't, pies.
No, yeah.
They were really good
yeah,
items.
yeah.
To raise 9,000, obviously they had to be pretty good items.
So 23 grand plus.
Exactly.
Awesome. Good job, guys.
Well, thank you. It wasn't about us. It was obvious. It wasn't about Outlaw Outdoors or any of the fishermen yesterday.
Somebody had to grab the reins, though.
Yeah, we were glad to. And it just, it was a great day to be not only a fisherman and a tournament director, but just a fisherman on Sam Rayburn.
By the way, so talk about the fishing. What did you see yesterday? I was down.
Oh, my fishing?
No. The
yesterday.
tournament fishing. There was a personal best, right?
There was.
Who caught his-
Jaden Parrish, high school angler. I think the kid's 15 years old.
gonna be a freshman.
Yeah, he'll be a freshman. He fishes with Tamlin Duff, another girl that's about his age, and he caught a 7:14 yesterday, and it was his personal best. And that, that's just icing on the cake.
And he got a check.
He did get a check. They won 11.
9th or 10th.
Were they?
Around there.
And lots of high school kids. Riley, who the benefit was for, he was a high school angler.
Yep.
So a lot of high school kids.
Hopefully we'll be again.
Absolutely. And cool thing, I kind of skipped this. Ronnie Sims from Kirbyville, he makes custom rods and all. And he called up Clint Fountain and said, hey, I want to donate a rod. Did a really cool thing. He made a Kirbyville Wildcat rod, put Riley's name on it. And we said, we want to do something special with this rod. It was really cool looking. It was red and black and really had a lot of detail. What we ended up doing was we made sure Ronnie was cool with it. We give it to Clint Fountain and Amy Fountain, who's the president and advisor for the Kirbyville High School fishing team, and they're going to hold on to it until Riley gets out of the hospital and is able to fish, and they're going to present him with that rod.
Beautiful.
So that's kind of a get
Get
glad
well.
to have you home.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what won yesterday?
17 and change.
Three fish.
3 fish.
What was the big fish?
9:16, 9:14. Terry Cole had it.
And by the way, I went down and worked with the live release, and I'm gonna guess we released 95% of the fish live.
We were very conscious about that, and something kind of behind the scenes that nobody noticed yesterday because it was missing. Mr. Taylor, who owns the live release boat, we had him, he was volunteered his time in his boat to come and release fish for us, and he called Thursday night, and he had a stroke Thursday. So, keep him in your prayers.
Absolutely.
He wanted to come, and he said, man, I'm seeing double, I can't drive, I'm kind of afraid to be out there in the heat. And so we had to make do with what we had, but I was very happy with what you told me yesterday.
Yeah, young man you had down there did a good job, and
Absolutely.
we got him back in the water together. So.
And everybody was a volunteer. No paid people yesterday. Hey, yeah.
Somebody's grumpy.
So I'm hot, ready to get out of here.
All right, well, let's put them on the trailers. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, Ken.
All right, thank you.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Also, guys, so Clint sent me this message later after we recorded this, and he said, I missed a couple of people that I've absolutely got to thank because they were key in doing this as well. Three Angels Ranch, Clint and Clay West and Eric Hunt all were big supporters of this benefit tournament, and Clayton Bullware donated a half-a-day fishing trip with himself, which Clayton's a hammer. Hi, Clayton. Clayton's a hammer on the lake. I wish I'd known about that. I'd have loved to fish with him. He probably wouldn't have shown me anything, but I would have loved to fish with Clayton. I really like Clayton and his wife Elizabeth. Great folks there in Zavala. So thanks to you guys too for supporting, and thanks for the community for coming out. This was a great benefit tournament. I'm just stunned. You guys raised over $23,000, and it shows the heart and the soul of our fishing community in East Texas. So great job, everybody. We'll be down there this weekend. We're going to take a long weekend. We're going to be there most of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and part of Monday too. So, hey guys, apologize. I'm going to slip a little bit more footage in here right at the end before I finish my closing. A lot of you guys have been watching Sarah on her progression of fishing. She's been fishing with me a little about a year and a half now. Everything she's been doing has been with a spinning reel or with an old push button reel, which is what we all started with. This weekend, I caught those couple of fish on a frog, and she wanted to throw something heavier. And we've been talking about starting her with a baitcaster. So this is me. This is her learning to use a baitcaster. A little bit of tips. Now, I had taught Joel, my stepson, how to do this when he was 11 or 12 years old. So I had a little bit of sense of all the backlashes he and I picked out, how to set up a rig, and some of the thought processes of how to make those casts without starting that spool too fast. So she did a great job. You're going to see here in 30 minutes she was making pretty long casts with a frog. But hopefully if you're trying to teach somebody how to fish with a bait caster, this will be helpful. So I'm going to stick this footage in here. Hope you enjoy it. It's good for kids, it's good for wives, it's good for husbands if you're trying to teach them how to fish. So a little bit of footage stuck in here, and then we'll bounce right back to the end of our closing here for this week. So thanks for tuning in.
Okay, so today is the first day that Sarah has thrown a bait casting reel. So we rigged her up with a Mach series lose. It's a 7'6". I think it's a 7'6". It's the Carolina rig rod, and then we rigged her with just a real basic lose. We've got a dog all tangled up in line. With a basic lose reel, and we turn the magnets all the way up to make it simple. So the first problem, and this was not just Sarah, this is all of us who've ever learned to throw a bait casting reel, is think of your reel spool as a car tire, right? So if you stomp on a car tire and you spin the wheels, if you pop that reel and you start that reel spinning immediately fast, that's what makes that line spin up and backlash. So what we worked on with her was a roll cast. And what we talked about was we wanted to feel the weight of that bait for a long ways. We started out just doing this, just to get that feel. And then we started her just hanging the reel behind her with about a foot of line out and roll casting that bait. Now she's struggled a little bit, as will kids and women, because she doesn't have the forearm strength that guys do. So we experimented a little bit, and what we figured out was if she would grab it by the butt seat at the same time. So she's now been throwing a bait casting reel. Now she's probably gonna mess up first try just because we're doing this. But she's got a hold of that at the bottom. Now we put her, that's one of those booyah frogs, but guys, she's been throwing a bait casting reel for 30 minutes. She's already learned what a backlash is, or a doggone backlash, I think is what she said.
Yeah,
So the key to it is don't start that spool super quick. You want to just roll, we call it a roll cast. You want to feel the weight of that bait out off the end of that rod all the way, make a cast, and that way that spool doesn't take off really quick and get a backlash. Give us one more, darling. So again, that grabbing that butt of the bottom of that rod is helping her have leverage. Beautiful. And we'll have her bait casting here pretty soon with everything. So she hadn't caught a fish on a bait cast, but we will. We'll catch one next weekend on it, or we'll see if she can do it on this cast. That would be just too perfect. And then have to fight Stella, who's about to fall in the water back there. No fish, but we got her throwing a bait casting reel. By the way, I personally think the way to do it, we started with 50-pound Seaguar braid. I think that braid's easier. It comes off the spool better, certainly better than 12 or 15-pound fluorocarbon or monofilament. But we've probably got a little bit too little a line on that reel. She just winged it out there again, and that also helps her not have a backlash, not get a bunch of lines spinning up on her. So if you're teaching your high schoolers or your junior high schoolers or your wife, or if you're teaching your husband how to throw a bait casting reel, that's the way to start it, on just a real basic roll cast. You don't want to snap that rod tip. You don't want to make that spool start really fast. You want to just roll it out there.
If you're in Zavala, world headquarters is right across the street from Brookshire Brothers. Come by and say hello. If you see us on the water, we're not hard to miss. We are hard to miss, excuse me. There's usually one or two of us in the boat and a couple of dogs. It's a new Z521C. It's silver and it's got a beautiful 4-stroke Pro XS on it. So come over and say hello. If you say hello, I'll put you on a video. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll have more stuff up really soon. Thanks again for subscribing and for referring your buddies to subscribe. It makes all the difference, man. I appreciate it so much. You guys be safe, wear your life jacket. It's going to be a very crowded weekend on the lake.